And we're back, guys. How's everyone doing? I hope you're all excited. I'm your host, Good Energy. Welcome to Tennis After Dark. And we're taking a look at the semifinals here at the French Open, Iga and Aryna. And we're also going to take a look at the other half of the semifinal, Coco and Lois. Listen, guys, it's going to be a good match here. And let's, I'll address the elephant in the room momentarily, but let's talk Iga for a little bit, okay? So, Iga has not won a tournament since the last French Open, right? Last year. And she's the reigning and defending champion. This is the only title she has to defend for the remainder of this season, right? If Iga does not win this match or defend this title, or let's just say win this match, right? One thing at a time. She's going to drop in rankings. And I think it's going to have a much bigger impact on her mental health more than anything. Iga's won the French Open 4 times, right? She could possibly become the only player in the Open era to win 4 in a row. But that would mean she has to win this match, right? Iga Swiatek is here in the semifinal after taking out Shramkova in the first round. Shramkova she reminds me of a Victoria Golubic, all right? Emma Raducanu, who's just look. I told you guys about Emma. I said when it's all said and done, I think Layla's gonna have the better career. Will Layla win a slam? I think that for Layla to win a slam, and look, I love Layla, right? I love her father as well. But for Layla to win a slam, I think it's gonna have to be one of those situations where you just have a few big upsets, and then for the other players that have proved to just be too much for her, they're gonna have to be injured or something. It's just gonna be one of those slams that just everything's eerie, right? If we go back to Elena Rybakina's Wimbledon championship, that was an eerie slam, right? None of the Russian and Belarus players. It was just weird, right? And she wins it. And she had to come back. Really, Ons should have won that. I don't know what Ons was thinking, but I think that's what Layla will have to do to win a slam. She's gonna have to get hot, but she's gotta. I think she's gonna have to add some muscle somehow. To be honest with you, she gets overpowered too much. That style of play is amazing, and it's exciting, and it's gonna beat most players outside of the top 30. But Layla's problem is the top 10. That's a real serious problem. They're all just striking the ball way too fast and strong for her. However, anything's possible. But I do think Layla will have the better career. And I guess the question is, if Layla doesn't win a slam, can she still have the better career? That's really what it comes down to. She's already got more titles than Emma, so we'll see. And I mean, we can't ignore that she is still a finalist. And yes, two is not a winner. Three no one remembers. I understand that, but she still made that match entertaining with Emma. We'll see though. Jacqueline Christian, not really impressed by that match. I mean, I just felt Iga made a lot of mistakes against Jacqueline, who I don't think moves well. Elena, listen, Elena, if she makes that overhead volley, she goes up 3-love. And that, I mean, at the end of the day, Iga still won the match, right? You have to win the match, right? And I think Elena's more to blame more than anything. And it's not that it's her fault, but you have to find a way to keep leads like that, especially when you're up a set. You have to find a way, and you can't blame Iga for coming back, showing her mental focus and toughness, and finding a way to break back and come back in that match. I think more credit should be given to Iga because when you're up, especially in tennis, you can go to situational gameplay and just manage the game. You know, it's the person that's on the other side of the net that has to normally play more aggressive to find themselves back in the match. So if Iga played more aggressive and it worked, you got to give her credit. You know what I mean? And Svitolina, who is just a really good shot maker. I think Svitolina is a really good prerequisite for just making sure you have your court vision, your range, because she's going to make you hustle and make shots. And I felt that was a very good win for Iga Swiatek. Whereas if Sabalenka was facing Svitolina, I think Svitolina would, out of doubt, have won more service games. You know what I mean? That's just my opinion. Now, Sabalenka on the other side of the net, she's here in the semifinal after a very tough match with Queen Win. But she started things off taking out Kamila Rakimova, Jill Teichmann, Olga Danlovic, Amanda Anisimova. I mean, it just seems like Sabalenka's draws sometimes they're just so easy. Now, Kinwin was her toughest match of the tournament. And if you watch that match, much like Elena and Iga, if you watch the match with Queen Win should have won the first set. She was up a break. All she had to do was hold, right? Someone who generally holds well most of the time did not do that against Sabalenka. And that's her fault as well. But again, you have to give Sabalenka credit for stepping up, upping the ante, putting more pressure on Queen Win, and getting the job done. But Queen Win's double faults and faults were just atrocious that match. Guys, let's address the elephant in the room. Aryna Sabalenka has played Iga on clay 6 times. She's lost 5 of them. Should Sabalenka be the favorite? Well, she's the number one ranked player in the world. That's probably why she is. I don't know if she should be the favorite. Iga's still really good on clay, right? And the issues that Iga presents to Sabalenka on clay is she can come across her body. Iga Swiatek can put Sabalenka on the back foot. She can go down the line with her forehand, much like Mara, preventing from Sabalenka closing out and returning these shots. She can go down the line, cross body. Her serve placement's good. She'll normally jam up Sabalenka on the serve. She'll normally jam the body. Against Svitolina, Iga Swiatek, she won 59% of her first serves, 71% of her second serves, right? And I felt she did really, really good just keeping Svitolina guessing on where she wanted to go. If she can do that with Sabalenka, that's going to create enough time to get ahead of these rallies and force Sabalenka to make mistakes. I think Iga will do that. Sabalenka, on the other hand, last time out against Queen Win, I mean, again, a match I think she should have lost. She did have 6 aces. She won 60% of her first serve, 68% of her second serves. And pretty consistent with break points, right? 4 for 6. But again, here's the problem. Queen Win is not a good defender as Iga. Again, and it's tough to compare players, but let's just tell it how it is. Queen Win's not the defender that Iga is. Queen Win's not the mover that Iga is. Queen Win doesn't have the short game or short balls like Iga. Iga can play at the net. She's not the greatest at it, right? But she's definitely ahead of Queen Win. I think Iga will win the match here. That's going to be my pick for Iga to win. I think she's great value. I mean, there's something to be said about someone that you've dominated on clay. Sabalenka and Anton was literally talking about how Sabalenka's still not that comfortable on clay, which I think may be an understatement. I think she's pretty comfortable on clay, but I think in contrast to it being her favorite surface, it's not by far, right? This is Iga's favorite surface, without a doubt. Everyone knows that. And I think having the edge on clay, I think the crowd is probably going to be split for the most part, so it'll be a neutral crowd. But again, I think Iga Swiatek, her movement, it's just better than Sabalenka on clay. And that's how you beat Sabalenka. You need good movement and you need to be able to make shots. Iga can do both of those, right? Iga can go short, she can go deep, she can adjust the height on her balls, she can come across body, down the line, her serve placement, she could jam Sabalenka up. Sabalenka's game is it's one way. It's you know what I mean? It's she's gonna try to overpower you, she's gonna try to stretch the court. And I feel Iga handles Sabalenka's power probably better than anyone on tour, right? I mean, I guess you could say prior to Amanda Anisimova losing, but because he dominated that head to head. I just think it's stylistically on clay, it's a bad matchup. And again, you know, Sabalenka talked about how they want to continue to work better and get better on clay, much like Osaka admitted. Look, she's not that comfortable on clay. She's a hardcore baby. And I think overall, even though Sabalenka does well on clay, she hasn't done well here historically. And those just are the facts. Iga has. I do think Iga, despite going through all of her troubles off the court, she still is very popular in France, and we have to acknowledge that she is a champion. Now, I'm not gonna talk about ratings and how the ladies only average, you know, one primetime match the last few years, which should have been either Iga or Coco, but the fans do still respect and like Iga Swiatek in France, and I think overall, I can see them cheering for Iga. What do you guys think? I can literally see them cheering for Iga louder than Sabalenka because she is the reigning and defending champion. Right? Makes sense, right? That's my personal opinion. But again, you factor in couple in the fact that Sabalenka just hasn't done well here. She's made literally the quarterfinal. I mean, I guess if you will, she's made at least two quarterfinals here. One coming last year, and or should I say semifinal? I'm sorry. She's made two semifinals here, once in 23, and this year. Other than that, I mean, she made a quarterfinal last year, but other than that, she's been out the round of 32. So it's not her favorite tournament by far, and we all know that. It is Iga's. So I like Iga to defeat Sabalenka. I just think she's got more tools in the toolbox, and she should get the job done. That's going to set up a showdown with Coco and Iga. That's what everyone wants to see. The passing of the torch officially. Coco beating Iga in France.